By popular request, here's how the Zat'nik'atel works. Coming up right after this. Hey everybody, I am Taylor and I am the Stargate Guy, where I talk to you about everything and anything Stargate. Today it's another episode of How It Works, and we are talking about the standard issue sidearm for the Goa'uld, and that would be the Zat'nik'atel, or the Zat, or the Zat gun, depending on if you're O'Neill or not. The Zat'nik'atel is a small pistol-like device that issues a small electrical charge to a person. The first shot renders great pain to the person and renders them inert for a small period of time. The second shot usually kills, and the third shot that disintegrates people. We'll get to that. Like most Goa'uld technology, the Zat'nik'atel is powered by liquid naquadah. Although we do not know exactly where the store of liquid naquadah would be on the Zat'nik'atel, if it is similar to the staff weapon, the small vial would be located at the base of the head of the Zat'nik'atel. The Zat'nik'atel only has one button on it, but that button does two different things. One is to coil and uncoil the weapon, and two is to fire the weapon. From watching the different playbacks of the SG-1 episodes, I've determined that pressing and holding the button for a half second to a second will coil and uncoil the device, whereas quickly tapping it will fire the device. However, it should be noted that the button is on both sides of the weapon, making it usable for people who are right-handed and left-handed as well. The device is basically made into three parts: the head, the middle, and the tail. These three parts curl up in order to make the device more portable. The Zat'nik'atel has a small crystal at the very tail end of the weapon. Similar to what I theorized about the staff weapon, it is logical that that energy is given out in small portions and stored in a crystal only to be released when the person pulls the trigger. Therefore, there are two connectors going through the body of the device. One from the head to the tail, where energy comes from the liquid naquadah and is stored in the crystal for use. And then from the crystal up to the head in order to discharge the weapon. That would explain why the trigger is halfway in between and why there are three parts of the device instead of just one part, similar to our gun. Now we do know that the Zat'nik'atel fires electricity, and this electricity can cause pain and even death to the victim. However, we cannot explain why the Zat'nik'atel can fire in a straight line, unlike a staff weapon who delivers a charge of plasma to the person and leaves a giant visible mark. The Zat'nik'atel does not have that, and in fact it doesn't really leave a mark at all on the person's body. But how much electricity is actually emitted from the Zat'nik'atel, and how does it render a person inert and kill them on the second shot? Well, we do know that electricity can stun and even kill people. Now, according to the Ohio State University Physics Department, there are 1,000 milliamps in 1 amp. And really, you don't even need 1 amp to kill you. So let's talk about milliamps. Now, with milliamps 0 to 10 milliamps, you will receive a mild sensation. You will barely feel it, like a tingling. Now, between 10 and 20 milliamps, that is when you will have a shock, but it does not seize up your muscles. Now, between 20 and 75 milliamps, that is where we start to really get into trouble. One, you have severe pain, and two, your muscles seize up. Now, since there's not a wire that a person is holding on to, when they're being shot by a Zat'nik'atel, their muscles seize up and then relax and they collapse onto the floor. Now, between 75 and 100 milliamps, that is where you could actually die due to ventricular fibrillation. I'm pretty sure I said that right. Your heart is uncoordinated and it kind of twitches up like it's having a seizure. It doesn't fully pump the blood to and from. It sits there and just kind of has a little freak out. Between 100 and 200 milliamps, that is when ventricular fibrillation is going to happen. Your heart is going to spasm out so much that it will not deliver any blood and you will die. Anything 200 milliamps and above, not only do you die, but it also causes severe deterioration to your inner organs. And you're probably going to have some massive burns on the outside of your body as well. And that is all a fraction of 1 amp. Now with this, we know that electricity does not really stay in the body after a shock. It wants to be discharged to the ground as quickly as possible. However, with the Zat'nik'atel, it seems that there's a period of time where the electricity remains in the body. Therefore, there is a window of time where those milliamps remain in your system, and if you receive more milliamps, your heart will seize up and you will die. That is what happens with the second blast from a Zat'nik'atel. It delivers another 20 to 75 milliamps, and those combined with the 20 to 75 that you already have in your system has to be between 100 milliamps and 200 milliamps in order to cause you to die. Therefore, the blast from a Zat'nik'atel has to be upwards in the 60 to 75 milliamp range. Now, Tilk mentioned that some people can die from the first blast. Therefore, the Zat'nik'atel likely fires 75 milliamps worth of electricity into a person's body, and that electricity has been modified to remain in the person's body for a couple of minutes. Now, if you have a fatal heart condition, one shot will kill you. But for the average person who has a fairly decent cardiovascular system, you will feel extreme pain, but you won't actually die, unless you receive that second dose of 75 milliamps, in which case you're between the 100 and 200 range, and you're dead. However, it seems like the body can adjust to this over time. For example, later on in SG-1, after Daniel Jackson is shot by a Zat'nik'atel, he is able to quickly recover in a matter of a minute or less. However, the two SF guards who get shot at the same time are still out cold when Daniel Jackson is awake and up around trying to resolve the issue. Now we get to the part about the whole disintegration thing. Now, it has been made clear from the producers and even the directors of Stargate that shortly after they created the 3-shot rule, they instantly regretted it, because that could have solved a whole lot of problems, and really it was too much power to go into one device. Besides, more and more electricity is not going to disintegrate something. That will take a lot more than just more electricity. Therefore, shortly after season 1 and 2, they stopped using the 3-shot rule, and they just went back to 1-shot stun, 2-shot kill. And another thing about the Zat'nik'atel that is extremely useful to Stargate Command is its use on modern day electronics. One blast from a Zat'nik'atel is usually enough to short circuit out crystals or control panels to a lot of different technology. Since those technologies usually have some sort of breaker in place, it is just enough to trip the breaker so that the entire thing does not work. It just depends on the device. Let me know what other questions you have about the Zat'nik'atel in the comment section down below. And if you're new to this channel, go ahead and subscribe. Great Stargate videos are coming out every week where I talk to you about everything and anything Stargate. You can click right here for a how it works about the staff weapon, or you can click right here for some awesome Stargate content. And until next time, I'll see you on the other side.